Okay, so here we have added dimensions in this version of the drawing. Now, adding dimension is going to be exactly as we had shown before in exercise 6, where you created a dimension style, you created a text style to be used in the dimension style. So let me show you how I created those. First of all, I created a dimension text. I named it, I got it from the standard dimension, and let's see the type of attributes that we gave to the dimension text. So the dimension text that we created is Arial. Okay, the font style is regular. It's not annotative, but the height is set to 70. And we created this just to be used in the dimension style. Okay, so we have to create one to be able to use it for the dimension style. And the second thing I did is that I made sure that I would put the GAnnoDims. Let me just put this as current. So the GAnnoDims is the layer where we're going to be placing our dimensions on. All right, so we want to make sure that this is created, it's red, and the line weight is 0.13. And the next thing is we're going to create a dimension style. So we're going to go to dimension style, and we're going to pick standard, and we're going to click on manage dimension style, and then we're going to create that dimension style that we're going to be looking at its attribute. First of all, it's annotative, so I set it to annotative. If you had seen anything different in your assignment file, just ignore it, because it should actually be annotative, so it can be represented with the same attributes in different plot sizes. So the dim style here is important to be annotative. Now, if you click on, if you started with standard and then you're going to click on modify, I just want you to see the text, the line the line attributes that we have here. So you can see that I didn't change anything here except the offset from origin, which is 40. Okay, and we need this so the dimension is actually going to start a little bit further from the from where we're dimensioning from the object itself. So that's what offset from origin mean, is actually offsetting it a little bit from so the dimension line is going to start a little bit further from the object it is dimensioning. Okay, so in the symbols and arrow, I used architectural tick. Right, the arrow size I made it as 40, so the architectural tick is actually visible. Now the text I used here, the dimension text or the dim text that we created earlier that I just showed you, and I didn't change much here except aligned with dimension line, and in the text placement I changed the vertical to above and the horizontal to center. Okay, the primary units are decimal and the precision is 0. Fit, I actually made sure that annotative is selected from here. So you make sure that this is selected. If you want to make it annotative, or you should make it annotative, it should be from here. And nothing else is actually I changed, as you can see. So all of those, if you can take a look and check them, and basically that's how I used the dimension text style. So again, lines here, symbols and arrow, architectural tick, center marks none, preceding dimension line, the arc length symbol, or nothing else. Basically, all of those things. The text height is 70. Okay, and this is the dimension text that we actually use. So this might be grayed out because we already used our own text style. The text alignment, aligned with dimension, fit, primary units, and that's it. Okay, so that's the one I used, and then you can see where I added my dimension. Now, the first dimension that I added is actually the dimension of the length of the room and the width of the room, and I extended this a little bit beyond. Can also do another trick, is that if we do that, if I want to, most of the time I don't want the text or the dimension line to extend actually beyond I wanted to extend from the outside. So that's why if I have something like this, I'm going to use the handles just to put it, just to move it, okay, outside like that. Because extending, I mean, the proper procedure is that if you have that line extending, you better actually to take it and take the handle of this and move it outside or further away. So the dimension is actually seen from the outside and it doesn't intersect at all with the walls. So mainly, what are we going to dimension? Because we already have put here the designation for the cabinet with their height, either for the walls and the width also for the base cabinets. I just added here the fridge and stove and oven, and just added also the how far the door is going to open. If you have a dishwasher, you're going to be doing exactly the same thing. Okay, so make sure that what you see here is somehow reflected in your floor plan. Now here, as we said, we're just measuring the room itself. Okay, and we're measuring the main structure elements. So for example, if I had here a column or something, I would be measuring the distance from the horizontal and vertical adjacent walls. And I'm also need to measure the any openings in the wall. So if I have a door here, this should be dimensioned. If I have a window here, this should be dimensioned as here. So if you have any elements like that, columns, windows, and doors, you should actually show the dimensions from the outside like what we see, not from the inside, because you're not going to have a space. As you can see, we have had a lot of hatching, we have a lot of information that is represented here, and we definitely cannot add the dimensions from the inside with all of this, but that's the right representation right now for the floor plan. Again, if I have something like this, I might move it a little bit further, because from the dimension line, just notice that. So it should look like this. And there is the big dimension line as well. I should move it like that. Okay, so that's how you should be dimensioning. Again, sometimes you're going to have a dimension, say for example, that there is a dimension between the island, okay, and a kitchen cabinet, or the island and the opposing, let's say, cabinet, and only then you can actually do something like this. Okay, you have to show that dimension. So you can then add that dimension on top. Now, if this happens, and you can see that there is a lot of overlapping here, what to do with that hatching? Now, this hatching can actually change color, and it can change color even though that's going to be on the same layer. So let's see how this can happen. So for example, I have the iFinish pattern, which is here. That's the type of, that's the layer where the patterns are placed on. I'm going to make this the current one. And then you can see that this is red. Now, if I want to change how this looks like, so all I have to do is that I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go to home again. All right. And instead of here by layer, I'm just going to click on by block. Now, if I click on by block, okay, it's still on the same layer, but I changed its color. And most of the time we're going to do that if we have a dimension that we actually have or must represent it on the floor plan. Okay, so if you have something like this, because I have seen your floor plans and I've seen, that you have some tables, or probably you do have a an island, and you need to get the circulation dimensions around the island, which is the right thing to do. Then if you have that, and because the text is going to be placed as on the iFinish path, on the GAnnoDems layer, this means it's going to be red, and you don't want this to interfere with the red of the pattern that belongs to the pattern. So in this case, you're going to click on the hatching and change its color from red by actually clicking here and changing by layer, okay, to by block. So this means it's going to give it a different color, but it's still going to be placed on the same layer. So you probably going to have the floor plan looking something similar like this. So again, try to look at the sketch that you have And if you look at the sketch that you have, this is going to give you a great visualization of what should be, because I know I have seen some really good sketches from you in assignment 1, and you need to be very, you need to basically copy it in AutoCAD. So anything on that sketch should be exactly the same on AutoCAD using AutoCAD tools.